Let's start with the New Jersey race here.
Sure.
Christie's victory speech has many thinking he is priming for a presidential bid in 2016. Before I get your reaction, take a listen to this one.
The biggest thing I've learned over the last 4 years about leadership is that leadership is much less about talking than it is about listening, about bringing people around the table, listening to each other, showing them respect, doing what needed to be done to be able to bring people together and to achieve what we needed to achieve to move our state forward. Now listen, I know that if we can do this in Trenton, New Jersey, maybe the folks in Washington, D.C. should tune in their TVs right now, see how it's done.
Okay, Dan, is Christie running?
I think he is. I think at the very least he's going to encourage the media that he's running. He said today he loves the speculation at his post-election press conference. And Trish, when you look at the strategy behind Chris Christie's reelection over the past year or so, it has really been designed to attract different types of coalition than a normal Republican candidacy, and to show that the groups that Mitt Romney had trouble with, women, Latinos, African Americans, that Christie was able to make progress and inroads with those types of voters and be able to showcase that to the national party ahead of 2016.
Okay, so what's it mean for the party overall? I mean, the party's been struggling. We saw that certainly as a result of the shutdown and the Tea Party effectively taking some other Republicans a bit hostage there. What could Christie bring to the party that it needs?
That's correct. If you listen to the clip that you just played, Chris Christie is tapping into the voter anxiety which is affecting both Republicans and Democrats in Washington. And that is that voters just view it as incompetent what's going on down here in Washington. And he's saying that New Jersey is a model for being able to get things done. Trish, he's a Republican governor who was able to get a property tax limitation in place and reform the pension system, both issues that face resistance from Democrats, but he showed that people can lead together. So that's really what he's trying to do. And I'm often reminded that this very much reminds me of 1998 with George W. Bush in Texas. Newt Gingrich and the Republicans had a very low favorability rating, just like they do right now. Bob Dole got wiped out in the '96 election, and this governor was able to reach out. He was able to win by a large majority with groups that usually don't vote Republican, and he was able to showcase that ahead of the 2000 election and talk about a new type of compassionate conservatism. Christie is not talking about compassionate conservatism. He's talking about competent governance, because that's where the country is right now.
But does the country really, does the Republican Party in this country really want competent governance? I mean, he's not nearly conservative enough. He doesn't have AK-47s on his wall. I mean, the far-right faction of the party would never let him win a primary, would it?
Matt, that's a great question. And you look at all polling right now, Christie's way down amongst the most conservative voters in the Republicans. Conservative voters are looking at Ted Cruz, Rand Paul. But I think that thaws itself out over time. As you're out of power for 6, 7 years, voters will get very practical towards the end of the process. I'm not saying Christie's going to be the nominee, but he's got a better chance with conservative voters than I think the consensus is giving him credit for, particularly as you get to the end of the process. Remember, Gary Bauer and Steve Forbes ran against George W. Bush, claiming he was too liberal. I think you're going to see something similar towards Chris Christie, but don't underestimate him. People have been underestimating him for the last 5 years.
It's always one of the challenges, of course, of the primaries. Before we let you go, we got to ask you about this Colorado marijuana tax, 25% on recreational marijuana. Is this going to drive the industry back underground, Dan?
Well, Trish, you've been the leader in identifying this marijuana issue years ago, and you're really starting to see it come to the forefront. You had 2/3 of voters approve a tax on marijuana, and those same voters then turned around and voted against progressive taxation in Colorado. So I do think that this is a growing trend. We're going to see it get legalized in other states, and then eventually it will be taxed. The irony, Trish, is that we're starting to ban cigarettes and legalize marijuana at this point, but it will become a growing source of revenue for state and local government.
Dan Clifton, always a pleasure to have you here.